11 minutes past 8. Welcome back. Well, yes, that is what we'll be talking about next. Mr. Segun Sowunmi joins us now. He's the former Director General of Jonathan Sambo Campaign Organisation. He's also a member of the People's Democratic Party in Ogun State. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Good morning, viewers. Good morning, fellows.
Well, listening to that clip, lots of people will always ask, why do we have our leaders, especially towards elections, they pay a lot of visits to former leaders? We've seen governors do it, we've seen presidents do it. What's the essence of that, and in camera for that matter?
Well, I think, first of all, let us say that a country like ours, we have the privilege of having quite a lot of former presidents being alive. We have Gowon, we have Shagari, we have Abdul Salam, we have Obasanjo, and so on. We have General Babangida. Those men who have had the rare opportunity of sitting atop the entire thing that you call the authority of this country, they understand that it's a lot of work. And from time to time, the person that is sitting on the seat today must consider them as reasonable receptacle of experience, knowledge, and know-how, and connection with the people. And he goes to visit them, he checks them out, he goes to look for counsel there sometimes, and most often time also, he wants some kind of endorsement from them. Either, oh yeah, you're doing a good job, continue with it. And if there are small challenges, oh, why don't you do it this way? Why don't you do it that way? That's all there is. And I think in the spirit of this particular season, and against the backdrop of what the president has said, that is good luck, Billy Jonathan, he said, not the use of the word, he addressed him as father. And then he said he hadn't seen him after his experience abroad with his health. He's getting old, and he needed to go on. And what is the better time to go than during the Christmas and holiday period? So I think that's what the president has done. And I think the whole visit is absolutely in order.
So he's not doing this because the former president seemed to have turned his back on him?
Which former president?
Obasanjo.
I don't know what you make of General Obasanjo or Chief Obasanjo when you say he's turned his back against the president. I think...
That's a seems to have turned his back.
Yes, well, you said he seems to have turned his back.
He's made a lot of comments, written letters.
I think the best way to actually talk about that particular issue is best captured by Professor Wole Soyinka. And I do not mean it from a very negative standpoint of maybe trying to criticize the former president, because he's actually a role model and someone that comes from my state. I have the same name with him, and I have a lot of respect for him. But Professor Wole Soyinka said something when he was trying to respond to whatever it is that was written in that book, and all. He captured it by saying, why would President Obasanjo, former President Obasanjo, appear like a man who abuses grace? It is an abuse of grace if you have been military president by grace, civilian president 2 times by grace. You have the agility and the energy to even still be alive and well and kicking and doing so many other beautiful things with your life and contributing in other climes. It becomes an abuse of grace if you are now the greatest critique of somebody who is just like sitting on that chair. So I think, for me, the former president has not done it well at all. And he's setting very, very, very bad examples for people like us. Okay. We don't want to see former presidents bicker.
All right, just clarify for us. For those who wonder, what is wrong in criticism if it's constructive?
You see, criticisms are good, but there are channels to lay information up. There are those whose words have the capability to implode situations, to make things really bad, to irritate and to roughen whatever it is that is the free nerves of 170 million people. And you don't get that kind of opportunity like people like former presidents. Therefore, they owe it to those of us who are looking at them and probably hoping to be president some days in this country, that there is a standard of behavior, there is a tone of language, there is a restraint in speaking. You're not going to suddenly become the new James Bond in the country when you have had more than a fair share of time at even solving some of this problem. You didn't leave us with electricity. You didn't leave us with rail. You didn't even fix Lagos Ibadan Express.
Does it mean what he's saying?
Loads of things.
Does it mean what he's saying is not true?
No. We're not going to go into the truth or non-truth of it, because you know why? He has had the privilege of sitting at the top of this game, and he understands more than you and I the avalanche of challenges that a leader has to manage, and therefore having also loads of opportunities to communicate with the presidency or whoever he wants to communicate with in a civil and a bit more coded manner, that the whole society is not imploded by that. That would have been a better way. Look at what Babangida did. Nobody is more former president than the other. Whether you had 2 times at the cherry or once, it's the same. Once you've been former president, you've been former president. We have Yakubu Gowon in this country. Is he talking like that? We have Shagari in this country. Is he talking like that? We have Abdulsalam, who even handed power to Obasanjo II. Is he talking like that? Who forgave him from the issues around his felon, the treason? Is he talking like that? We have Babangida himself. Is he talking like that? Where do you get
Some people will say that some are, tactical than others. Some will say some are more diplomatic, or some are bolder than others. I mean, it depends on how you want to look at it. Yeah. Some people will say, I mean, he's given his reasons in his book. We don't know. It's still, the appeal hasn't been won, so it's still not in circulation. But, what really is the relevance of past leaders? Do they really... One we wonder, if we say that we're making progress, but we're not doing so well in certain other areas, they have been there. I mean, they've been there all the time. They hold council of state. They have the formal meetings. They have the informal meetings. How did we still let things get out of hand? Or, how did things still manage to get out of hand if truly our leaders, our past leaders, did have any relevance?
You see, the problem or the situation that you call Nigeria is complex. When a man gets to the office of president, there are agencies, there are ministries, there are loads of ways that whatever it is that you see as the outcome or the output in terms of deliverables comes from so many other directions, with people having responsibility, ministers and all of that. So sometimes when you have the former presidents in the council, whatever they call that, their committee of council or former council of states or something where they meet regularly, you don't expect them being better schooled at how difficult it is to even pass a simple instruction through the system before it will begin to give you the results you want. You don't expect them now to become the ones that are just yapping all over the place, using body language, talking, using tone of voice, intonations in a manner that suggests that the man on the seat today is having it easy, because they have been there and they understand how tedious and how difficult these things can be. Give you an example. General Obasanjo, when he was president, started whatever, ICPC and EFCC. You will think that the real good idea behind it is to put an agency in place to manage corruption. If you ask, many years down the line, how much of an impact has that had? Would that mean that when he created it, he didn't intend it to have an impact? That's not it. You will see that when General Obasanjo was around, he tried to figure out a way around probably power. Do you know how difficult it was, just with the turbines all over the place and everything not energized or completed in his time? Did that mean that he didn't want power to work? And now somebody else has taken over, has looked at the brief, he's collected the handover note, he's been briefed, and he has taken his decision, okay, the best thing for this power is that let us privatize it, so that sometimes in the future, we'll be able to have it just like we're having GSM now. And you will sit as president and start talking about corruption. And when you want to talk about corruption in a country like Nigeria, I've always asked myself, yes, we need to manage how our resources are spent. And we need to manage what you can call the obvious manifestation of unnecessary wealth by those who have had opportunities around the corridors of power. But hello, the Nigerian police force has enough, we have enough laws with which to catch a thief, jail a thief, collect the money back and all that. And if it is not working as fast as we would have loved, how do you hold just one president responsible? Especially in a country like ours. We have gotten to a point in this country where we have divided ourselves into basically 6 geopolitical zones, with the South-South being the gist that lays the golden egg. they have the presidency via some arrangement and God and all of that, if you like, because he didn't exactly start out by trying to be president. He was just vice president, and then he became president. And you, as a former president of the country, who understands the volatility of this nation and how we need to manage things, you will not be the one now overheating the politics for what?
Yeah,
Mr. Sowunmi, you said something when you started. You said they have been there. They've tasted it. They've seen the pressures. It is said in the African parlance that what an elder will see sitting down, the child will not see it standing on top of a tree. Now, if these men who've been there have seen this, they have made their mistakes, and they're seeing that you're probably towing the same line they told that made them make the mistakes they made, and they don't want you to make. What do you think they would do?
Thank you. You see, that's why I listed all the other former head of states that are still living, who have also been there and done that and all of that. Which of them speaks that way? It is frustrating that the class of men who you can call your comrades in that regard, that you can go to and get succor, and even when you're feeling the pressure, they're supposed to tell, okay, no, not to worry, I'll help you out.
Let me just stop you for a moment there. Which of them speaks that way? Which of them almost directly handed over to the current administration?
There's nothing like almost that. That's what even makes it worse. You sit over a process that started civilian democracy. You sit over a process that could have allowed you to make sure that certain quality of people became part of the leadership class. You sit over a process that produced a president that everybody know, or at least rumor suggested that he wasn't exactly well. You sit over a presidency that puts Goodluck Jonathan as the vice president. And you sit over a process that also probably encouraged him into the presidency. And then you come back many years later and start telling Nigerians all sorts of caca. Where is that done? Have you looked at other countries like Britain, America, Germany, and all of the nations of the world that we try to say are advanced? Have you seen any one of them where former presidents of those countries take it upon themselves to just go all over the newspapers and on television and run riots?